brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Hey there. Are you ready for an assault on the senses?
Yeah, maybe.
That is this show.
Yeah, totally. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Okay, enthusiasm, guys. Well, ladies and gents, it's us. We're here.
Oh, please don't change the channel yet.
Too late.
Yeah.
Wait until Dave introduces himself. Then you can go.
Okay. This is another Sud segment for those of you that are keeping track, where good beer meets questionable radio.
Let me write that down.
Okay. Just, in case you're keeping score back home. With me today at this semi-round table is good old boy Dave.
Hey. Would you like to buy a monkey?
Seriously, do you spend like 45 minutes every week trying to figure that out?
More.
Okay. All
Countless hours. Countless. Yes. Good old boy Mike.
Hey, it's me again. Please do not change the channel.
For the love of Pete.
If you're keeping score, it's Mike 1, Dave 0.
Good old boy Kendall's here in the house.
Yeah, I think my usual tagline is, it's a pleasure to be here. But I'm starting to second guess that.
That will not apply today.
It's all about having a good exit strategy. That is the way you get through life, Kendall.
Have you noticed that Kendall always sits closest to the door?
Yeah, that's part of the
telling
secret.
you.
That's it. Yeah.
I've got my eye on it.
Yeah. Okay, and in case I didn't say this before, hi, I'm good old gal Julieanna. Good old boy Kendall has a blog, and he will talk about that later. So, today, our episode is going to be kind of cool, kind of funky, and again, an assault on your senses. We are doing a brewery takeover of not one, but two breweries. The first one is Melvin Brewing Company from Jackson, Wyoming. We witnessed this huge buzz about them last year at GABF. And,
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that buzz and hype and whether they live up to the buzz and the hype. And the other brewery that we're going to be talking about is Great Notion Brewing Company from Portland, Oregon. So there's that. So today's Suds episode is brought to you by
Stuff and Things. Do you like stuff? Do you need things? Come on down to Stuff and Things. We have more stuff than anyone, and our things are priced very competitively. Stuff and Things. Things and stuff. Stuff and things. And stuff and things. Now, with more stuff.
No jingle.
Wow, that was sad. Okay.
Hey, you stepped into that cold. It's not easy to do.
True. So, Dave, tell us about your extensive research that you've uncovered about Melvin.
What?
The extensive research that you've done about Melvin Brewing Company.
Cut, paste. Okay, Google, please tell me about Melvin Brewing.
Oh, you want me to read from the website? Okay. Well, why didn't you just say so? Hey, welcome to Melvin Brewing. This is the beginning of your wonderful new...
It's wonderful.
Kung Fu friendship between our brew family and all beer lovers alike.
Gonna be Kung Fu lightning.
I think it's Kung Fu fighting.
Kung Fu fighting.
I wish I knew Kung Fu right now. If I knew the death touch, we'd be down to 3 hosts in just a second. Talk of Melvin began on the California West Coast as opposed to the California East Coast, but the heart of Melvin started beating in the rural mountain town of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. As far as Grand Notion goes, Grand Notion Brewery is a 7-barrel brewery and taproom in Portland, Oregon, located in Portland, Oregon. We focus primarily on juicy New England style IPAs and creative sour ales, though you'll also find a variety of beers with fresh fruit and stouts with maple, coffee, and chocolate.
They're right next to the Pine State biscuits.
Dude, have you ever had those biscuits?
Yeah.
Are they good?
They're from Pine State.
Yeah? Well, there you go. Pine State biscuits. That's how you find them.
I guess so.
Beer and a biscuit.
So go boy Mike, why don't you tell us our lineup for today?
Yeah, so we got several beers from each of these breweries to go over. So from Melvin, we're going to have Asterisk. So all of these are in a common series. It's called the Rotational IPA series, where they're actually changing out the hops that we're going to be going through. Asterisk, it's an Imperial IPA. The Drunken Master, Imperial IPA. Lamda, it's an Imperial IPA.
Nerds.
And Citradamus, another Imperial IPA. All those are from Melvin that we're going to go through. And the beers we're going to go through from Great Notion Brewing are going to be the Blueberry Sour Muffin, or Blueberry Muffin Sour, the Juice Box Double IPA, and the last beer we're going to go through is the Double Stack Stout,
This
Imperial.
is totally not rehearsed, folks. This is just happening right as you're hearing it.
Do we ever rehearse? It would really sound so bad if we ever rehearsed.
As opposed to this?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say Mike 1, Dave 1.
Wow. Okay. So why don't we start off with the Melvin beers and
Or Suds rating.
or Suds rating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Suds rating.
Kendall's going to
Kendall, would you please read the Suds ratings today?
Could you do this in the style of somebody from Portland that is had way too much coffee to consume?
And just ate a biscuit from Pine State Biscuit.
I have no idea what that sounds like.
It's just a little jittery. That sucks.
Jittery, but
We'll be discussing
satisfying.
and rating these beers with these Suds ratings plus our signature belching sounds. Here are those ratings now. That sucks. Give me anything but a bud. Was that a belch? What a relief. Body should really not make that sound. And listen to that hang time. Give me another.
You know, I can almost see his man bun shivering from the caffeine buzz.
No more espresso table 3.
He almost fell right out of his plaid shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can almost feel his protest against the federal government, just oozing through, that elicitation.
Yeah. It's oozing through the coffee aroma that's coming from his skin. Yes. Okay, so let's move on. So we'll do the Melvin beers first, and we're going to start with Asterisk. Asterisk is 9.0% ABV. It's their take. It's if you take an IPA and feed it steroids, which gives you that term double IPA. There you
I'm gonna
go.
get some roid rage.
Yeah. So there you go. So, do you guys think this is a true double IPA?
I wrote down very balanced. That was one thing I wrote down.
Yep.
This is
About
delicious,
this.
man. I mean, it's really good.
The one thing I circled in their description was a reactionary style. Yeah, I definitely had a reaction in drinking this. So, yeah.
He got drunk.
No.
I thought it was fantastic. The first thing I noticed on the aroma of this thing was a lot of passion fruit. And then I picked up a little bit of that kind of sweet malt, not quite caramelly, but a little sweetness from it. And then that pine resin. But yeah, passion fruit dominated it for me.
Yeah, and I like the malt green on this. It's a little different than what you would typically expect and get out of. Like, it's not so sticky sweet to go
Right.
along with the hops. So whatever they're doing, I like it because it's a little different.
Yeah, it's got a good mouthfeel to it. It kind of lingers on your palate a little bit and lets you get the whole experience.
I thought the alcohol was definitely all over this. This was swinging at 9%, and I felt like it was, you could feel it.
Melvin does not hide their alcohol.
No, that's definitely true with all of these.
No, they're loud
when you
and
look
proud.
at the whole list, it's 9 and one at 13%. So we'll let you figure out which one's that outlier today.
Yeah, so considering that this was the lightweight of the group, what did we rate this beer?
Our Suds rating for the Asterisk from Melvin Brewing is going to be a 4.
Well, there it
There
is.
you go.
So now moving on, we're going to talk about the Drunken Master.
Named Mike.
I'd like that to be my new stage name.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So you giving up chartreuse?
No. I think you would have a lot of other stage names for me if I were to ask Dave. Drunken Master. And here he is, the Drunken Master.
I've called you drunken something that rhymes with master a lot of times, but I don't know if we can get into that.
I don't think we can do that on public radio. No, not today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Drunken Master is 9.5%, and it is a brand new double IPA. Not as boozy as Tuba, which is their other double IPA, and with greater balance. So this is a combination of Citra, Amarillo, and Columbus hops.
Kendall, if you had to come up with another stage name for yourself, what would it be?
I'm not quick on my feet like that, Mike.
No, you can think about it. Dave's thought about it.
What is it, Dave?
Megan. I look at him and I see Megan. I don't know. It's just,
How about it, Julieanna? What would be your other stage name?
I don't know. Go by Dave. What's my stage name?
Why are we asking Dave?
Because he comes up
Is
with
he
them
like
so
the
quick.
orator of stage names?
their stage name will be Pumpernickel.
Okay, we'll be back in a minute.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf, iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love.
Welcome back, everyone. So we're talking about some beers from both Melvin Brewing Company and Great Notion Brewing Company, but currently we are talking about the Drunken Master, and no, that is not good old boy Mike. This Drunken Master is from Melvin. So, do you think that this is like sunshine in a glass?
It burns a little.
Yeah. Well, in fact, that's what I wrote down was burnt sugar. In fact, if I was not looking at this in the glass, there are probably some red ales that this would go down that path just because of the burnt sugar, quality about this.
It's weird. Like, even though all four of the Melvin beers were the same color, more or less, this one came across as darker to me, like more caramel or, there was something deeper about it in the flavor to me.
That's the first thing I wrote down when I looked at this beer was amber. And when I see an amber double IPA, I'm expecting certain things. Those classic Northwest double IPAs have that, big, strong caramel backbone, just, and then it's just pine and grapefruit thrown in on top of it.
Yeah.
Well, within this hop profile, the thing I circled was Amarillo. I really thought that was the one hop that was kind of singing right through all this. It just has that kind of earthy tone to it. I don't know if it's just kind of stepping into those kind of burnt sugars, pieces, but Kendall's right. I said red ale. Amber is probably a closer way of describing it.
Yeah, it is. It's very creamy too, but there's a lot of pininess in this. That's fighting with the malt to me.
Yeah, I didn't feel like this one was as well put together as the other three Melvins. It just didn't.
What does a well put together Melvin actually taste like?
You're a Melvin.
Oh, we'll be getting to that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there'll be more of that clip coming in.
Oh, it's going to play over and over.
A very sweet finish, I thought, off the Drunken Master here.
Yeah.
That was one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Anything else for the Drunken Master?
Just hey.
Just kind of that classic Northwest IPA. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I don't think I'd come back to this. Would you guys? I mean, it is what it is. So
It's good, and I'm glad we had it, but I just, considering what they have available, this would not be the one I would go to.
in this lineup, I don't know that I would put it in the definitely on the top for sure.
No.
And even within our ratings, I see this at the bottom.
So what did we rate it?
Our Suds rating for the Melvin Drunken Master is going to be a 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Second that emotion.
Exactly. So now next, still sitting at 9.5%, folks, we're going to talk about Citradamus or Citradamus. Citradamus. Yeah. Like Nostradamus. I got that.
That could be my stage name.
I got that.
It could
And
be,
here is Citradamus.
it could be something that sounds like
No?
Damus, but not really that.
I like Drunken Master a lot better.
Yeah.
I think it's a much better stage name.
So this one is Melvin's World Class Double IPA brewed with 100% Citra hops, pristine mountain water, and Northwest malt. And it is citrus, pine, and dank.
Citra.
Yeah.
This beer is phenomenal. Citra's a great hop anyways, especially, not all hops can carry a single hop beer. But Citra is one, like Mosaic's a great beer for doing that kind of stuff. But Citra is a classic American hop, and then this is the way they used it is very good. They balanced the malty sweetness of the malt. Actually, that was incredibly profound. When we go back and listen to this later, we're gonna be like, Dave is a genius.
Which button is that? I don't think so.
How about that?
There you go. Much
Better?
better
You like
choice.
that one?
Right,
Okay.
correct.
It's a gorgeous color. And to me, this is what Melvin is all about. They know their hops really well, and God bless them for what they do. Because this is just, to me, so balanced. Exactly. It's so balanced. It's so beautiful. And, for it being 9.5%, this is easy drinking to me. And this can get a lot of people in trouble.
Well, I could smell this across the room when we opened up this can, and that's very typical of a lot of Citra beers. Especially this one is definitely very intense Citra. I think my only comment, a negative about this is, I was just upset this beer was not available on a tall boy.
Yeah. Or 5-gallon keg.
I circled some other things out of your description. The citrus was there, total dankness. I really thought, this really brought the whole package all the way around.
Yeah, when I first looked at this beer, I picked up on what you did, Julieanna. It looks beautiful. It's somewhere between gold and amber, but it's almost got a orange tint to it.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. And that tells me right away, I'm probably not going to get a lot of those caramel flavors you see in those amber colored beers. And I was right, which is, I think, good sometimes, because I think those can get in the way of what the hops are doing. And I think that was the problem with Drunken Master. It was just a little too caramelly for me. Yeah. This is a lot lighter, gentler, and it lets the hops really shine and just really take the stage. And those citrusy flavors are fantastic. This was my favorite of all the Melvin beers. I thought it was just darn near perfect.
Well, the thing that captured our attention with Melvin was at the Great American Beer Festival in 2016. They actually absolutely smoked the entire competition on the fresh hop beer. And I remember having that beer on the floor, and then I had it a couple of times during that week. And I was like, wow, I just, this is like a whole new level, for fresh hop beer. And this was getting fairly close to what I remembered, about such a great experience with Melvin. So,
yeah, I remember trying that 2x4 at Falling Rock. In fact, I was at Falling Rock getting ready to order a beer, and a guy came up to me. He's like, "Have you heard about Melvin?" I'm like, "No, I'm from Nashville. They're not in our area." He goes, "Well, I work for Melvin, and you should try the 2x4." And he was right. It was fantastic.
Well, and I forgot, and I'm on the fly, was the East Coast versus West Coast competition we went to during that year, and Melvin was actually featured in that lineup. And it was very interesting because we've had a lot of these beers, and even the Melvin that was showing there that evening was a dwarf component of what that fresh hop, version was. But I think that the Citradamus here definitely is right on spot. So really great beer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, kudos,
fantastic.
Guys. This is a great beer.
Well, our Suds rating for the Melvin Citradamus is going to be a 5.
And last but not least, coming in at an extraordinary 13% ABV is Lamda. So, the crew at Melvin, because, they go balls out from time to time, decided to push their system to the max on all levels. And brewing with over 4 pounds of Simcoe and Mosaic hops per barrel, and then dry hopping this puppy, I'm just going to go on and say extraordinary. This is an assault.
This is a big old beer.
It is. I kept on hearing, the electric violin in my head the whole time. The
That
whole
was
time.
Mike's
We don't have that
back in the
clip,
day.
but we should lay that in for sure. It was much sweeter than most of the other rest of the lineup.
This is pretty much a barley wine.
Yep, I agree. That's totally it. Dave totally hit it on the head there.
At 13%, absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because I'm getting this this fruitiness, this peachiness, but I'm also getting the pininess. It's crazy how they're toggling between each other on my tongue, and I'm like, wow, this is really great that they're sort of so distinctive considering how much alcohol is in this thing.
Absolutely. I was getting a lot of that stone fruit. To me, it was coming across more as apricot, but yeah, apricot, and then that kind of resiny, piney flavor, and it just dancing around on the tongue.
Yeah.
Huge beer, but just so much character in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a great job on this one. I mean, it's very manageable.
I wonder if the beer would do better if you let it rest for a little while. With that, there's a lot of residual sugar off this, and I really wonder. This was actually in a can as it was distributed to us, but I wonder if this is one of those beers that if you laid it down for a year, that some of those alcohol aspects would kind of tone down just a bit, and the rest of it would kind of come around like a typical barley wine.
Sure. And oh my God, if it did. I mean, I'm just thinking about how interesting this is already. And if you let this sit for a while, wow. Wow.
I don't know. I think if you gave it too much time, the hop's going to fade off.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. It would be a nice experiment, but I feel like those hops would just totally go away, and it could be maybe too sweet.
Yeah, you're going to skew even
You
sweeter
think
because
so?
it's not going to keep fermenting out or anything. So you're
And
just
I
going
don't
to end
think
up
the
with all that
hops are
sugar.
big enough where they would hang around,
Well, certainly the dry hops would go away, but with how much that they put in, during the boil, I'm almost thinking there's got to be something left over even later. No,
I you know what? If I had 3 or 4 more cans of this, I'd definitely let a few sit.
Talking about just the bigness of it, and the more I think about it, there's definitely something here that kind of reminds me of like a 120 minute.
There you
It is
go.
a big beer.
It's very, it's down a lot of that same pipe, that you're talking about in terms of a lot of big, alcohol laden, beers. But yeah, totally barley wine city all the way. Well, our Suds rating here for Lamda from Melvin Brewing is going to be a 4.
Nerds.
So overall, where do you think
More
these
violin.
guys? Okay, so they're Colorado. They're not totally
Wyoming.
Wyoming rather. Sorry. We just
come
enjoy
on.
them in Colorado.
You just insulted an entire state.
Same difference.
Yeah.
I did not mean that.
It's
I did
Colorado
not mean that.
North. Come on. We know what it is.
But considering they're Wyoming and they're not, Cali, is this really West Coast?
I'm going to say no, negative on that one. Yeah. I think it's interesting, the hop varieties they're playing with. It's playing with a wide variety of things, that they're where I don't think you can throw them in really one category or the other. It was interesting. A lot of people said they were West Coast, and I have very difficulty, just characterizing them in a West Coast category. So.
They're not, like, other than Drunken Master, they're not caramel enough or bitter enough to me to be West Coast IPAs. I think they're more maybe northwest, the Pacific Northwest.
I forget, what was it, the second one on the list, Drunken Master. To me, that was that Northwest, Oregon, Washington type of IPA.
Yeah, I think
very
that's
dank
kind of
and
where
resiny.
That's where their wheelhouse is, more the Pacific Northwest to me.
So then are you trying to tell me that we have a Northwest IPA and a West Coast IPA?
I think there's a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I can definitely see this fitting in a lot of the wheelhouse of other things that are in the arrow, like I was going to say 10 barrel or barrel 10. I'm brain dead all of a
10
sudden.
barrel.
10 barrel, thank you. It seems like it's fitting, kind of in a bit of that, kind of taste profile.
Just to me, the typical West Coast is maybe defined more than anybody by Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what they're doing versus kind of what, up people in the Northwest are doing. Even Deschutes or Rogue, some of those beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So that would be the, if Northwest IPA, that would be the Nuepa.
Yeah. Nuepa.
Nuepa.
I like it. I like that, but it's so hard to tell sometimes because everybody is doing kind of what everybody else is doing as a one-off. Like West Coast people are doing a New England IPA
the NEPA.
Yeah. So, and then, then you got the Midwest IPA and then the Muepa. Is there a Southeast IPA? A SEPA?
There should be.
Yeah.
Y'all come down there and try us beer.
It's got collard greens in it.
Sweetwater's not a bad IPA from the Southeast, that's for sure.
Well, it would be, I think it'd be very interesting to, if you had to, they should wrap their arms around that Citradelic. Was it Citradelic or
Citradamus?
Citradamus, thank you. Citradelic, somebody else's beer. Citradamus.
Disregard that.
Yep. Please don't sue us now. The Citradamus, because I think that's a really great taste profile, and everything they did with that fresh hop, was definitely, right down the right path.
Yeah, and if I may say, for all these beers that we had today from Melvin and also what we tried out last year at GABF, they're just doing something just slightly different enough to make it very distinctive and to make it their own. And in an IPA world, I think that's pretty stellar because, no matter what kind of difference you're doing, that you're carving it out, because there's so many breweries that are so similar with their IPAs.
Yeah, their daily drinker IPA, the 2x4, was fantastic.
It was really good. Let's get to this blueberry muffin because I'm about to go brew a pot of coffee if we don't get to this soon. So
okay, fine. So now we're going to talk about Great Notion Brewing.
That's a great idea.
Oh, there you go. Finally.
Thank you, good old boy Dave.
Been waiting on that one.
Yep.
So this one is just considered a blueberry sour. It is 5.0%. Of note, this is not a kettle soured beer for those of you that are keeping up with what's kettle soured and what's not. So, does it taste like a blueberry muffin? That is the question.
It smells like a blueberry muffin.
It smells like a blueberry muffin.
Absolutely.
I think
totally.
It tastes, many components of it resemble that of a blueberry muffin.
Yeah. So I agree. The aroma was just amazing off this. I thought there were a couple of things that snuck up on me. There was a kind of a citrus component that was coming in about this. I'll save my last comment here in just a moment. I'm sure some of you thought something else about the blueberry muffin.
It's so sweet. Like, the aroma on it is so sweet. You really don't realize that you're tasting a sour until it's on your tongue. And
It's
you're
a lot
like,
of lemon now that it's warmed up.
yeah, there is a bit of lemon in there. But I mean, that's what blows me away is that this smells just like I've come from a bakery and I have a dozen of blueberry muffins in my bag. And then I taste
What kind of bag is it?
Paper bag.
Brown paper?
I'm thinking this is like a
Brown,
Duncan Hines, kit with somebody that grabbed a bottle of real lemon and just like sprinkled it on top of the,
I'll say
muffins.
this. I grew up on those Sara Lee
There you go, yeah.
muffin mix things, where you just add milk.
It explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why I grew up so big and strong. So
I was thinking of diminished mental capacity, but go ahead.
Smart and tough too.
Fluffy in the middle.
Hey. Listen.
I think that is Dave's stage name. Fluffy in the middle. You think that would work really well? I think
that's it right there.
Oh, there you go.
I hate you guys.
No,
I'm gonna have a whole slew of T-shirts made up called "Fluffy in the Middle."
Muffin top.
Muffin top beer. There you go. That's the name of this beer, right?
But again, I mean, this is a crazy beer because the aroma does not match what is inside.
There's a lot going on here. It's
Just
not
so
overly
much-
sour.
So much blueberry in the nose, and it really does have that aroma, but it doesn't taste that way. You already mentioned that. It's a really clean, just gently tart, and the blueberry is really subdued in the flavor, but just huge in the aroma.
This beer kind of messes with you.
It does.
Well, our Suds rating for Great Notion Brewing Blueberry Muffin is going to be a 3.
Well, we'll be right back with some more from this brewery.
I may not be.
It's not just the destination, but baby, the whole elation of riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as the willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right, keep your eyes on the road, my darling, wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows, my hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Sorry that you're missing our wonderful discussions here.
All the best stuff's during the breaks.
Yeah, it must be. So anyways,
That's every show.
True. So we've been talking about some beers from Melvin, and now we're talking about some beers from Great Notion Brewing Company in Portland, Oregon. So we just finished discussing the Blueberry Muffin, which is their blueberry sour.
Wait, though. Kendall told us about where in Portland these guys are located.
It's northeast Portland. If you don't know Portland, it's divided by the Willamette River and Burnside. So everything to the north of Burnside and east of the river is northeast Portland. It's very
And that's full of
Hipsterville.
what's.
yeah, it's a very cool part of town.
Hipsterville.
Little hipsterish, but
Do you ever play Count the Man Buns?
no, it's been a few years since I've been to Portland, but it's a very cool area. Yeah, northeast Portland's where you want to hang out.
A lot of curly mustaches and
A few.
Maybe a couple.
I'm just here to hug the trees.
fancy little hats and yeah.
So the next beer that we're going to discuss from them is the Juice Box Double IPA.
This will be very divisive.
I agree.
Oh yeah.
So this
I
one,
like it.
So this one is 8.2% ABV and was brewed with over 4 pounds per barrel of hops. Although I couldn't find out distinctively what type
What
of
was
hops,
their hop
what their
blend?
Yeah, exactly what their
Citra.
hop blend was.
Citra.
Well, there is a lot of citrus, sure. So anyways, do we think this is a juice box?
No.
I like this beer.
I
know
like it,
yeah.
but judged against everything else in this category,
Right. If you're going to call it a New England IPA,
NEPA.
you need to bring
Negative.
more turbid,
Negative.
more. But if you just want to know, do I think this beer tastes good? And when I sit and drink a few pints of it, yes, I absolutely would. I don't think it tastes like 8.2% either.
No, not at all. You know, I'm looking at it. It's hazy. It's got the right color. It's got the right aroma. It's got the right flavor, but there's just something it's missing.
It's just not as chewy as you wanted it to be.
Yeah,
I need
it doesn't.
chunks.
Not
chunks
only the
of stuff.
mouthfeel, but you know, I've had New England IPAs from all over the country over the past year.
Even
and
New England.
I had. Hey, I'm wearing a shirt with a New England IPA on it right now.
Yes.
But you know, judged against the standards like Treehouse and Trillium and Alchemist, there's a little something that is missing, and you wonder.
You're just very short.
If these people in
You
that are
talking to me?
brewing these beers in the Midwest or out west or on the West Coast, if they've really had a chance to go to Vermont and Massachusetts and drink these beers to know, because there are some people throughout the country, including right here in Nashville, making good New England IPAs.
True.
But I've also had a bunch that are like, yeah, they're definitely part of the style, but there's just something missing.
You think it's something in their water or
No.
It's the soul. It's just something undefinable.
they don't have lobster in it or
No.
But
you know?
it's a decent beer. I could drink a lot of it, but comparing it to some of the great New England IPAs,
Let's
no.
let Mike rant about this beer for a couple minutes. And say all
I
the
got like 15 seconds. It is not a good thing when I write down the word aspirational. I can think of a long list of things that you do not want to come after. Whatever comes after the word, it's aspirational is probably not a good thing. But I wrote down aspirational Citra bomb. And frankly, they should leave this to others. You know, I'm with Kendall that, you know, with so many people that are chasing this style of beer right now, you're like on generation 1 and other people are like on generation 6 or 8, you know, and it's just, I just don't think you're going to be able to catch up with that until you have mastered the blend between citra hops and lupulin powder. I'm seriously, just give it up now and avoid the rush, you know.
Well, no, I don't think they should give it up. I think they should keep
trying.
Again, I think this is a beer that if you just went in and you were looking for a good IPA to drink,
Oh, it's good.
yeah, you could sit.
There's nothing wrong with it.
This and
I agree. If I had no other better choices in town, I would sit and drink this all day long.
you know what? You can drink some blueberry muffin and shush it. Okay.
So, what do you think, Julianna?
So, okay, so let me ask you this about it. So, this is a New England style IPA. Okay, now clearly, well,
Keep going though.
clearly though, they're a Northwestern brewery.
Yep.
So, I'm wondering, this is just me being weird, okay? So, yes, it's not quite East Coast. We've already established that. But I think for an East Coast version of a Northwest IPA, are they doing it?
I got lost in that geography.
I think
Do you
Julianna,
know
Are
what
we
I'm
in
saying?
Canada?
Did we
at
go
that
to
point?
Bizarro
We
World or
Stop.
Julianna
But I
just
mean-
created a new style, the Northwest New England
I don't
IPA.
know. I'm still hung up on Fluffy in the middle. So
Welcome
I,
to Vancouver, where we produce really high quality beers that you can't quite figure out the regionality of
Well,
them.
but what I
Viva la
mean
France.
is that I think they're still maintaining a bit of the Northwest in here. They're holding back. They're not going totally East Coast.
Other
with
than the
this.
Citra, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're holding back or they just aren't close enough to the main experience to get it.
I
Okay.
wonder if they tried to do this, and Mike kind of mentioned it. Maybe they tried to do this without the lupulin powder.
Yep.
And you can't do it
Without
you
the
just
lupulin
can't do
powder.
it without the
Yeah.
lupulin powder.
The
I
thing
don't
is
think.
so the key aspect, this has all of the sweet floral component around Citra, but
Sure.
the thing that's missing is all the bitter, hop component, around this as well. And so the sense of balance around this is, To me, I think it's a bit lost. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
too many of these beers are getting just really juicy, really sweet. And I'm not saying you can't make a good New England IPA. I was just in Denver last week. Weld Works in Colorado makes some
Yeah.
fantastic New England
Yeah,
IPAs.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So you can do it. It's just a lot of people, I'm not sure, know what authentic tastes like.
Maybe.
Yeah. Go buy a can of Fogelbanger, then go back to the well.
Okay.
So there you go. Look at Kendall laughing at that one.
There you go.
It was.
Of note, I think I got to give the brewery props because as I was doing a little bit of research on this brewery, they did an April Fool's joke where they were releasing this in a juice box. And
Oh.
I thought,
Excellent.
That's brilliant.
That's
good.
is cool.
That is very cool.
Good
Yes.
for them.
So
yeah, it's
kudos for that idea.
Until an entire preschool got drunk. And
I would
they-
ship a whole case of that
came.
to Boston. That's what I would have done. So
yeah.
Anyways.
keep at it, guys. It's good.
Yeah.
You can
I
only
think
get better.
I think they're on a good start. I really liked this beer, the way it tasted.
What did we rate this beer?
our Suds rating for the Great Notion Brewing juice box is going to be a 3.
And last, but certainly not least, this beer is called Double Stack.
Hang on
That
a
was
second.
Mike's nickname in high school, by the way.
Hey, that could be my stage name.
Ooh, I like that. That works really well.
Welcome to the main
The
stage.
Dungeon Master and Double Stack.
Double stack.
Here on the radio for you today.
So now you're the dungeon master.
Oh, I'm
It
sorry.
changes all
know
the
what?
time.
What did I say? The
I
Drunken
think-
Master.
I
The
think-
Drunken Master.
I think
the
someone
Drunken
just
Master and
admitted
the
to
Double
playing
Stack.
Dungeons and Dragons.
No. The,
Mike,
the Drunken Master and the Double Stack here to talk about beer with you
go ahead
today.
and take your 20-sided die out of your pocket right now.
Wow.
No, not today.
Okay. So Double Stack is a 10% ABV. It's an Imperial breakfast stout with Clutch coffee, shout out to Clutch, and Vermont maple syrup. And really, tell me how you guys really feel about this beer.
The thing that's missing from this already is a theme song from, what was the show, Northwestern, or, it was a Canadian show.
North by Northwest.
I don't know, but yeah, it needs like a theme show where you're like, you actually see elk running across the screen in your head. So
Northern Exposure.
that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, Northern Exposure.
That
Yes.
was a
That's
great
Alaska.
show.
That
Yes,
was a
I can
great
hear
show.
that theme song as I'm drinking this
Boom,
beer.
boom,
Yes.
boom, boom,
Oh.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, that's
I
it.
get a little
Totally.
Twin Peaks in this action.
No.
The coffee part of it.
No. Thank you, Dave.
Sorry, dude. I had
It's
to
to
flag
me,
you.
it's just ironic that we were just talking about the Northeast IPA that wasn't a Vermont enough, and this one's got Vermont.
all of a
maple.
sudden they slap a bunch of maple syrup.
They've
right
got
in
Vermont
it.
maple syrup, and this is really well done. I enjoyed this beer.
And there is lots of chocolate in this beer. The people from Germany come and we tell you we're going to put the chocolate in
Where
this
did
beer.
Germany come into this thing at all?
Because there's lots of chocolate in this beer for sure. And the German
well,
chocolate.
then
for
be
that.
Swiss or something.
Swiss. Swiss don't have a great accent. Have you ever heard a great Swiss accent? I haven't.
Yeah. I've heard a great Swiss accent.
No,
many,
that's
many
like
times.
Austrian. See, that doesn't work.
You're South African and you're Australian. Sound just like you're Irish, which is just barely off
Look,
of your Scottish.
there's a lot of people in my head, so it all kind of blends together at the end of the day, Dave.
Now this was beautiful though. I was getting dark chocolate, coffee, and then there was something in there I couldn't get, and I was thinking it was a sweetness, and when I tasted it, boom, maple syrup.
Yeah, this is not a beer you can drink a lot of.
But you want to drink a lot of.
Yeah,
Welcome to Vermont.
this is your last beer of the night. is what it should be.
Well, the one
Maybe
thing,
with some ice cream or something.
the one thing that, so Kendall and I were sitting beside each other as we were tasting this, and I was like, "There's
They
a
were
lot of."
holding hands too.
No, we weren't. We were not yet, unless our stage names came into play. And so I was holding Double Stack's hand and going, "There's a lot of nuts off this." That sounded really weird all by itself. But yeah, there was like a almond. There was like a almond or a hazelnut, that was really very apparent. I'm sorry, you didn't mean to hit that twice, right?
I did. I really
Yeah, I
did.
knew you did. Anyway, as though I was holding Double Stack's nuts. So in this. I really felt like it was
Dear FCC.
Yeah. So it was that combination of a lot of chocolate bitterness, almonds, and hazelnut that was kind of, playing into it. The thing I wrote down off this was I really thought it was an extract candidate. It reminded me of a lot of things from another brewery in the Georgia area who are who will remain nameless in this discussion.
Well,
hopefully.
slow down. You're almost you're too fast there, Turtle. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. So don't come out of your shell.
I would never do that. I would never insult people of that type of reptile. So yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was stunning. I mean, the smell on it reminded me so much of maple syrup that I was like, yep, this is the stuff that you go to Vermont and you tap the tree for. It's so worth it. And I thought that the roasty balance on this was great too. I mean, I could taste the coffee in this. Like, this is a good base beer. Like their breakfast stout is a good base beer.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot.
I think the major thing this was missing for me was a can of whipped cream. So, I mean,
that's half your life though, dude.
I think you just put a little whipped cream on top of this. I think it will work okay.
Put it in a pie crust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Put it over pancakes.
Because you could definitely slice it. It's so thick, for sure.
It's
well done.
But in a great way.
It's kind of fluffy in the middle, though, don't you think, Julieanna?
Yes. I think it's definitely fluffy in the middle for you, Dave, for sure. Well, we had a great time, with this beer from Great Notion Brewing. Our Suds rating for Double Stack from Great Notion Brewing is going to be a 4. Kind of interesting beers definitely today, weren't there?
I thought this was it was an assault on the taste buds.
Yeah, definitely all the way from IPAs to this, blueberry, chocolate, world for sure.
I think it just continues to show like how many amazing beers are coming out all the time and what interesting things people are doing in different states. And, like Portland is a known beer capital that, people think of as a beer city, but Wyoming, you don't really think of Jackson Hole, Wyoming as beer central USA, but even there, I mean, there's some amazing beers coming out of there.
Well, we should come up with a contest of letting people from each of those areas come up with stage names for us.
And send us beer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, send me a beer from every city in America and I will drink it. That's the contest.
What's the prize?
I was about to say Double Stack. What do you have to say about it?
You
prize
said it would be your
is an evening with Dave.
Whoa, man. Oh, man, that is definitely not a prize.
That's a grand prize.
Sounds like it's fluffy in the middle to me.
Slightly burnt on the edge.
I'm feeling at least 3 marital counseling sessions in your near future.
There's going to be some stuff happening later.
Well, I'm just going to say, I think these are some great beers that we had today and showing the diversity of what craft beer is all about. And you know what I mean? Like, we've got some really good IPAs. We got some very interesting beers from Great Notion. And I mean, hey, this is why we're here at the table, is to drink really interesting and really different beers, right?
And to make fun of each other.
No, I'm just here to figure out my true stage name. That's really all I'm here for,
Bianca.
Yeah. I don't think that's close. It's not even remotely close.
You're a Bianca. I don't know. There's something about you.
Bianca, the drunken master?
The king of surgical tape. That's,
Hey, look. That's special surgical tape.
Surgical tape. That's right.
That was a gift from someone who loved me.
Oh, yeah. Thinks you're fluffy in the middle.
Well, luckily, that does it for today. In case you were wondering.
Please don't hit stop now.
No. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's Suds episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and you can catch all of our episodes online, as well as on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes, Google Play, and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sip Suds Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store.
We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com.
Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day at Sip Suds Smokes. Our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news, and follow us on Instagram at Sip Suds and Smokes.
Hey, be sure and rate our episode. If you would like to do so, please hop on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, and leave us a quick comment. That's a great big help to us.
Hey, Kendall, why don't you tell us about your blog?
My wife and I blog about the good news of good beer at beermakes3.com.
Well, I'd like to thank all my hosts today. Good old boy Dave.
All right, we'll see you, honey.
That you were. Good old boy Mike.
I love the fact that I get to hang out with Fluffy in the middle all day long.
Thanks, Bianca.
Yeah, I agree. Come back, join us once again. I will definitely ask you to keep on sipping.
Good old boy Kendall.
Double stack.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Always drink good beer.
This is good old gal Julieanna. Keep on chuggling and see us next time.
This has been a one-tan-hand production of Sip Suds and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.